Hey friends, let's talk about my last group of tomato seeds today. So I'm gonna take this last group and they're gonna be called my canning processing tomatoes. And they're either going to be a true paste tomato, like an oxheart or aroma, or they're going to be a production tomato, which means maybe they're a determinate tomato, and they're the ones that I'm pretty much going to use mainly for canning. First, here are the ones that I grow as a paste tomato, and I grow these for flavor and for meatiness, for sauces particularly. One of the very best ones I do is San Marzano. These are a little frustrating to work with sometimes because they're smaller, so they require a little bit more work. There's a whole lot more skin seed ratio, but the flavor of these is fantastic for pasta sauces, which is what I make it with. So I always do a San Marzano. And then I do Romas usually. And I have got a striped Roma in here, and then this Martino's Roma. And I usually do some of those. One of these that I found when I was searching for things that were Polish is the Opalka tomato. And this is, it kind of has the size of like a larger Roma, but it's got a little bit different. I don't know if you can kind of tell right here on this one. It's got kind of a pointed tip to it. These can get really big for me, so I really liked this one. It was very, very meaty. You see that one sliced open. A lot of flesh compared to seeds and juice, which is good for sauces. It has to cook down less. And then Amish paste tomato, which is a huge, meaty tomato that a lot of people use for sauce. So those are my main ones that I use for sauce, that I've been using for years for sauce, for canning. And then last year I added these two to trial. The Italian red pear. I got this from Tomato Growers Supply Company, and I really, really liked this. It had good meaty tomatoes. I got a lot. It was a lot easier to process this bigger tomato than a whole bunch of smaller ones. So I will grow that one again. And then this one is called a Betelux. It also was a very good one for canning. It's a very early Polish type for canning sauces or paste. It 3 to 6 ounce round fruits. Really nice. First year I did it. I didn't like it as much as the Italian red pear, but probably enough to try again. And then I also kind of include oxhearts in here. And oxheart looks like a heart, like it's a big, thick tomato. I got pink oxheart here, and I have yellow oxheart that I got in a seed exchange. So I plan on growing both of those this year. Then I have ones that are considered an early tomato. So they're ones that are bred. A lot of them are hybrid, some of them aren't, but they're bred to get a big flush of tomatoes earlier in the season. So I have got a seed exchange one called the Oregon Spring Tomato. I don't know how to make you see that well. This one's the Floridade tomato. It's a 55-dayer. This is a hybrid called Early Doll. Ace 55. This one I grew last year and actually produced really well. I really liked this one. Wisconsin 55. Ooh. And Early Detroit tomato. And man, this package has been beat up a little bit. That's from Nature and Nurture Seeds, and it looks like I might have taken it outside with me. So these are all early maturing ones. So I might grow a big row of these at my mom's house because I'm gonna get a bunch of tomatoes early and make an early batch. And then I'll be able to probably go behind and clear those out and put another crop in there. So those are the early maturing varieties that I'm doing. I have one more set of. Here are ones that I am doing that are either a determinate tomato or they're a hybrid that's bred for production. So this is a group that's just gonna make a lot of tomatoes. I did look for the varieties that have the best flavor, because if it doesn't have any flavor, I don't care how many it makes. I don't want a tomato plant that makes a ton of flavorless tomatoes. So one of the ones that I have seen a lot is this triple crop. And this one says, an insanely productive tomato variety. It produces clusters of 3 to 5 each. Trellising is required. Perfect. I'm anxious to try this one. I've heard a lot about it on different YouTube channels, and so I'm gonna put a bunch of these at my mom's house this year. Bonnie Best. This one is an heirloom. It's good for canned. It's meaty. That's a good canning one. And then this one is called 4th of July Hybrid, and I get this from Burpee. This is the other tomato plant that I started back when I did those super sweet hundreds. First tomato I ever tried, this and the super sweet 100s, and it's my husband's very favorite tomato. It's got a 4-ounce fruit, perfect for lunch boxes, and yeah, so that guy's coming back. I didn't have any seed last year, so I bought some new seed. Along the same veins, the determinate tomatoes are all going to have a good flush together. And a determinate tomato is the kind that grows to determined height. So these are all ones that I'm gonna let run wild, pretty much. I am gonna set up maybe a big area in the back of my mom and dad's yard, and I am going to set these guys up and let them go crazy. I'm not gonna prune them. If I prune them, I will take away fruit. It will not make extra fruit if I prune them, because they have a determined set of fruit that comes on each plant. So if I prune it and take away branches and thus take away blossoms, I'm gonna take away fruit. You just need to let them be. Now I am going to put them in cages or some kind of trellising, not necessarily to get them tall, but to keep the branches apart, to keep airflow very good. If you just let them grow and kind of claw around the ground, which they will. If you put these in the ground, they will just crawl along the ground and make a giant mound of tomatoes, which many people do. But I find that they get a lot more disease that way. There's a lot of moisture from the ground, dew settles. So I like to keep them up off the ground. So I will probably use cattle panels and get these off the ground. So the varieties I have that are either semi-determinate or determinate are this Rutgers. This one's called Sophie's Choice. This one's done well for me. This one is called Granny Cantrell. Glacier did really good for me one year. Then I have not tried these ones yet. They're called Rio Grande tomato from My Gardener. As far as these varieties, I am gonna grow quite a few of these at my mom and dad's house. They're gonna put in a cattle panel section in the back of their yard just for tomatoes this year, because we wanna grow enough tomatoes for several of us to make our sauces. So I will probably do half of her yard with these bigger, meatier ones and half of her yard with the heirlooms. So I am probably gonna need about between 20 and 30 plants of this for my mom's house, and then I'll grow about a dozen here at my house. So I can plant a good portion of these and be okay. But still, that's a lot of varieties. All right, have a great day.